Hi, this is Simon Overton of the Hong Kong Writers Circle. Every year, we publish an anthology of short fiction by our writers, which is edited by volunteers from within our membership. This video is to help our writers to format their work for submission to the editors. More information is available on our website, hkwriterscircle.com. Aside from many of these requirements just being good practice, they also have financial implications for us. All our anthologies need to be professionally typeset, and therefore doing a lot of this formatting work ourselves saves us money. That's not to say you should try to imitate what you can see here in this publication manuscript. Really, the message is, submit your work in as plain and simple a format as possible, and let the typesetters do the rest. To illustrate these points, I have put together the start of a rather silly short story. I hope you enjoy it. It's called Of Style and Substance. First of all, I need to change the typeface to Times New Roman and the font size to 12. The title and byline don't need any bold, underlining or capitals either. I'm going to make them less pretentious too. My name here must be consistent with my mini biography. Subheadings should be in italics and with regular capitalization. Okay, here's the first part of the story. The traveller with the grey moustache apologised to the paleontologist with the metre-long axe. "I'm sorry," he said, "truly sorry." It was 3 a.m. Neither of them had slept for 2 days. "When did I last sleep?" thought the person of no fixed abode. It must have been March the 20th, 2015. Firstly, all text should be justified. And no paragraph indentation, please. This means no spaces, no tabs, and no special margin or ruler settings. At the Hong Kong Writers Circle, we use UK spelling, and yes, it has been debated and settled. Many word processors will set a default dictionary for each document, so I should make sure English UK is set when I start writing, or do select all and change it. I can change the spellings by hand or right-click them for suggestions. But the computer won't spot all of them. It's also our policy to use ISE rather than IZE, so check them too. Use single spaces after full stops. Apparently double spaces went out with typewriters. I'll change these by hand with the Show Hidden Characters button, but I can also use Find and Replace to pick these up. Use single quotation marks for speech. Double quotation marks would only be for reported speech or speech within speech. Commas, full stops and other punctuation should be within the quotation marks. Times should be written out with dots after the A and the M, or the P and the M. The thoughts of characters should be in italics and don't need quotation marks. Write dates without the TH and use the order day, month, year. with a comma before the year. This is a British thing too. But looking at this now, it seems a little silly to write out the date in someone's thoughts, so I'm just going to delete it. There. Okay, here's the next part of this thrilling story. The bone digger, Dr. Chan, sighed. Her toast was burnt. He'd never learnt how she liked it, pale, buttered and slightly limp. She liked her toast that way too. She looked at her takeaway menu. There were 3 items, spaghetti and meatballs, sausages and mash, and fish and chips, served with tartar sauce. She sighed again. What she wouldn't give for some thé au lait or some lai cha. They weren't the only things she missed from France and Hong Kong, though. She missed Edith Piaf's No, I Don't Regret Nothing, The Pearl Report, Godard's Breathless, and The Apple Daily. Her phone buzzed with a message, 3 simple words that chilled her spine. Do it now. I'm going to delete this extra return here. This turns it from a paragraph break into a line break. More on this later. Doctor, Mr., Mrs. and other titles don't need dots. And I should use ed for words like burnt and learnt. Dashes, whether they are M dashes, N dashes, or any of the other dashes, are a tricky business and will probably need to be replaced by the typesettist. Whichever kind of dash this is, I will put a space on either side. I need to remove the comma before the and in this list. Sorry about the crude innuendo, by the way. There are exceptions to this, of course, as in this more complex list. Full stops and other punctuation need to be outside of parentheses. This is in contrast to the rule for quotation marks. Foreign words, but not Chinese words, should be in italics. This is French, so I should change it. This one is Chinese, so it should be in plain text. Songs, TV shows, films, newspapers, books, and so on should be in italics. And yes, I know it's a bad translation. It's just one of my little jokes. It always sounded like a double negative to me. Anyway, emails and text messages should also be in italics. And while I'm deleting things, I'll just have 3 dots here for my ellipsis. There. And here's the final part of the story. 10 years later, and 1,000 miles to the east, Chan had just dug up 2 rib bones that had once belonged to the hirsute backpacker who had died at a sprightly 35. When she realized what they were, she cried out in horror. "Are you all right?" called the site manager. "I'm okay," she replied, but she wasn't. Just then the strains of a painfully familiar song became audible. No, nothing of nothing. No, I regret nothing. So here I have a significant change in location, time and subject, which means I need a double return, a paragraph break, and not a fancy divider. For the typesettist reference, I'll put in 3 stars. Don't worry, they won't appear in the final book. Numbers 1 to 100 should be spelt out in words, and so should large round numbers, like 1,000 here. And don't forget to hyphenate double figures. Oh, and east should have been lowercase, that's my mistake. Alright is 2 words. And OK is a word, not an acronym. Lowercase except at the start of sentences. And I'll put that comma in too. I need to italicize these lyrics, and we're done. I know that's a lot to bear in mind, but if you want a simple rule, it would be this: plain text, except where the formatting delivers meaning. You can check out the website for a more exhaustive list of guidelines, but that's it from me. Happy writing.